Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Card Enthusiast. I am Nate, otherwise known as Theron Omega across the internet, and today I wanted to show off a deck for Brawl in Magic the Gathering Arena, featuring some new cards from Core Set 2021, including the Commander Radha, Heart of Keld. This is probably one of my favorite rares from the new set. I think she enables some pretty interesting shenanigans. As long as it's your turn, she has first strike. She also lets you look at the top card of your library, and if it's a land, you can play lands from the top of your library. So this Brawl deck has a couple themes to it. Theme number one is lands. You want to be getting land out on the table as much as possible. Like you can use her 6-cost ability to get +X/+X for the number of lands you control. And with the way I built this deck, the sub-theme is 4+ power matters for creatures and getting a lot of abilities off of that. So if on the land element, we have our Boreal Razor in here. When this enters the battlefield, you can put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tap, so you can fetch another land. Also in here, sorry, everything is singletons. You've got Nissa's Triumph to grab a couple forests out of the deck. Leafkin Druid and Ilysian as mana dorks. Azusa Lost But Seeking to play 2 additional lands on each of your turns, as well as Dryad of the Elysian Grove allows another land on each of your turns. Those combo nicely with Radha, because if you have a couple lands in a row on the top of your deck, you can just rip those right off the top of your deck and into play. And Dryad is also super fixing because all of your lands become basic lands, which is not that big a deal when you only have 2 land colors, but it does mean you can tap out all of your forests. You only have a couple mountains left in play, and you could still play Nissa's Triumph using your mountains as forests. I've done that myself a few times. So it's cards like that that will get you your value to start ramping up to the bigger things. Then you've got Garrix Uprising. When it enters the battlefield, control a creature with power 4 or greater, you can draw a card. All of your creatures have trample, and going forward, whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you can draw a card. So you're getting extra value for all of the big things here. And I'll include the full deck list with this video too, so you don't have to try to like screenshot or memorize all of this. In the cheaper end is removal. I've got Scorching Dragonfire. Heroic Intervention is a board wipe prevention device. Ram Through helps you use one of your big creatures to take out one of theirs. And Volcanic Geyser can be a big finisher. Deal X damage to any target with all its lands. Just kind of working my way up the mana curve here. Soul Sear deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and it removes their indestructible. Nice way to kill a lot of annoying creatures like gods here. Cultivate gets you more land. Garrix Harbinger has that all-important power 4 to trigger some of the other abilities, and if it hits an opponent in the face, you can look for more creatures to put in your hand. Yorvo gets bigger every time a green creature enters the battlefield and is available as early as turn 3. Lothus is a source of ramp. A 4/5 indestructible on 3 is always nice, although it's not a creature until you meet the devotion thresholds. But if it's not a source of mana, then it's dealing 2 damage to an opponent and you're gaining life, so really no downside with Lothus. I have Split Card Collision Colossus in here because there's not a lot that this deck can do against flyers, so this will give you at least one way to deal with that. Or you can use Colossus as a cheap way to get +4/+2 and give something trample to rush over. It could be a finisher, it can help something survive. Opportunistic Dragon's a 4/3 flyer for 4. And it has the ability to steal a human on the other side of the board. That ability won't always work for you, but a 4/3 flyer for 3 is still good. Migration Path gets you land. Migratory Greathorn helps fish out a land, and you can use that to mutate onto one of your mana dorks, so you could get that out as soon as turn 3. Nylea Queen-Eyed, another god, makes creatures cheaper, which can help. This deck is getting out lands so fast that cost reduction is not always really needed, but it also has the ability to pay 3, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you can put it into your hand. Since you have Radha out and you'll always know what the top card of your deck is anyway, that's basically you can choose when to pay 3 and draw a creature. Questing Beast is, of course, Powerhouse, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. And when it deals combat damage to an opponent, you can also smack a Planeswalker. Leafkin Avenger is a backdoor way to finish a game. You can pay 8. It deals damage equal to its power to target player or Planeswalker. Which, again, it's a 4 power, so it will work with the other 4 power matters cards. It can be a source of mana ramp if you need it, or if you pump it with cards like the Colossus there, that can become pay 8, deal 8, so very nice. Proud Wild Bonders in here because it has trample, and any creatures you have with trample can deal combat damage as though they weren't blocked, which is nice with Garrix Uprising because with that all of your creatures have trample. Also in the deck is Aggressive Mammoth, which will give all of your creatures trample. And Quartzwood Crushers in the deck to also reward trample. Anything that deals trample damage to a player and you're making dinosaurs in that amount. Vivien is in here. Vivien Monster's Advocate. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, which you already could with Radha. But now, if it's a creature, you can also play it off the top of your library at any time. So, 2 different ways to rip things off the top of your deck. Terror of the Peaks is a mythic in here because making your opponents have to play 3 life to hit it is always good. And whenever another creature comes out into play, the Terror of the Peaks is going to do that creature's power to any target. And in a deck where 4 power plus matters, that means very frequently you're playing a creature and you're dealing 4 damage to anything you want, which is just nuts. Turn of the Wild Speaker you can use to draw cards with the greatest power among non-human creatures. So that frequently, again, is going to be 4 plus cards in this deck. Or you can use it as a finisher to give non-human creatures +3/+3. I didn't check, but I think essentially everything in this deck is non-human. So it's buff your board. Elder Gargaroth. Huge body, maybe the only creature with one of the 2 creatures in the deck with native reach. 3 different options whenever it attacks or blocks. Just great on the top end of the curve. God Eternal Ronus can be a finisher to double power and give everybody vigilance. And then, up here at the real high end, you've got, like I said, the Aggressive Mammoth to give everything trample. Drakuseth, if that's how that's pronounced. 7/7 flyer, deals 10 damage worth of damage split across 3 different targets every time it attacks, plus its 7/7 body. This deck has no problems getting lands out, so we've got an Ugin in here. Ugin's +2 to deal 3 damage to any targets, great. And exile things, and you can totally refresh your hand when you have enough loyalty counters. And Volcanic Salvo is in here as a removal. It deals 6 damage to each up to 2 target creatures or planeswalkers, plus X less to cast, where X is total power of creatures you control. And in a deck with a lot of 4+ creatures, it's very easy to knock it down to just 2. It's very powerful, worth having in there. Lands, mostly the basic stuff. Stomping Ground and Temple of Abandon are in there as fixing, as is Command Tower because this is a Brawl, so why not use it? And a Fabled Passage to fish out a deck. So that is the deck. It's all about ramping up, getting big bodies out on the board, and then bashing face in. So give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. If you have any suggestions or feedback on how this deck could be altered or improved, Happy to hear those in the comments. Let me know. I've been playing it a bit this morning and been having quite a bit of fun with it.